All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Eva. I am excited to be your host for this important session. Today, we are about to talk about expanding your opportunities and creating a more inclusive and diverse hacker community where everyone feels empowered to innovate and contribute. As we prepare for our upcoming regional hackathons, we want to ensure that these events are spaces are where all voices are heard, valued, and amplified. We encourage you to join the conversations, ask questions, think about how you can be part of this inclusive movement, and let's get inspired and take action together. I'm very happy to introduce all our speakers, and of course, before we dive in, I will let my colleague Doro introduce herself.
Hi, Eva. Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here. My name is Dora Angali. Eva and I work together at Algorand Foundation, together with some of our colleagues. We're here today. We have Asta and Sarah Jane representing the technical side of things, and then Camilo, our head of developer programs. We're super excited to have Yip here today from SystAIN3r and Jedi. She'll talk more about herself. So yeah, we're super psyched about our regional hackathon and talk a little bit about how diversity and inclusion is a priority for Algorand Foundation. Back to you, Eva.
Amazing. So right now we are going to explain a bit how we can dive into this amazing webinar. Please use the question tab if you want to ask something to the host or to the speakers or to anything about this specific regional hackathons. Use the chat to introduce yourself, talk about comments, to interact, engage with the community, and express your thoughts. And if you want to learn about how to join the regional hackathons and everything, we have a lot of information to you at the end of the webinar. So please stay with us until the end. We have a lot of amazing things to share. And of course, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Please use the chat, as she said, and say hi, where you're tuning in from. It's always super interesting to see where people are from and joining us today. Eva, do you want to walk through the agenda?
Of course. Well, now I'm going to explain the agenda, how we're going to structure this amazing webinar. First of all, our speakers will introduce themselves with their backgrounds, with all their experiences and their ideas. Then we're going to talk about the regional hackathons, which is the objectives, what are we going to do in these specific cities and what we expect. Then, of course, speakers will talk about a bit more. And then a panel discussion that Doro will guide us. And at the end, we will have a little time for Q&A. So if you have questions, please use the specific tab, and we will be more than happy to respond to you.
Thanks, Eva. So I wanted to give a little bit of background as to why we're here today and why we're so committed to diversity. And I wanted to highlight Algorand Foundation's membership in the Equity 2030 Alliance. It's sort of an ominous title, but it's an initiative by the United Nations Population Fund. And we're super proud that we recently became members as the first blockchain ever to be part of this exciting movement. And other members include really huge brands like Bayer, and then you also have Roche, Adobe. The Global Blockchain Business Council just joined this week, which is super exciting. We're huge fans and advisory council members, but also governments, the government of Norway and others. I'm not going to list them all, but check out the website. They're doing lots of cool stuff. They have lots of experts and champions really advancing the course. And we are excited to be part of it and to have been invited to join it. And what is the Equity 2030 Alliance about? So again, it's from the UN Population Fund. And you can read this mission statement here on your own. I don't need to read that to you. It's not story time. But the purpose is to really create gender equity in tech, in the sciences, and all the STEM fields. And for us as a team, it's super important to increase female participation and also increase overall diversity in the Web3 space. So we're very excited to be part of the Alliance. We congratulate GBBC to be a member now as well. I think some other blockchains have now or are in the process of joining. So we're really, really excited. Please check them out online. They're doing lots of cool stuff and see how you can get involved in blockchain or outside of blockchains, up to you. So that's why we're here today. And Camilo and Eva, who are leading our hackathons here so wonderfully, they agreed, like, yes, we really want to pull the weight behind this. We want to get a more diverse hacker pool. And so we're excited to collaborate on this together and really show up and increase innovation, because in the end, that's what it's all about. The more diverse the people are that you work with, based on gender, ethnicity, cultural experience, any sort of personal experience, really, the more innovative your solution is going to be. And we'll touch on that later in the panel discussion. But I just wanted to add a little bit of color as to why we're doing it, why we're here today. But now I'll hand over to Eva and maybe also Camilo to talk about our regional hackathons and how you can be part of it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Doro. Well, first of all, we are hosting 3 hackathons this semester, one in France, Nigeria, and Vietnam, all of them amazing cities where incredible developers and incredible enterprises that will go over all these tracks and finally get selected to win a prize. What is important about these hackathons is we are offering information for entrepreneurs and developers online and IRL. So if you feel confident, you can build a project, you can drive the difference, and you can build something that makes everything very important for you. This is your place. Other thing is we're having specific tracks focused on the use cases for the Algorand blockchain, which is financial inclusion, supply chain, decentralized identity, and real-world assets. So every region has a specific tracks focused on their growth. So we are looking forward to see which project came out from this incredible hackathon. Then another important thing that we are innovating is in technical challenges from the Algorand ecosystem. The ecosystem that we already have in Algorand is participating actively in the hackathon to offer different games for developers and different challenges that they have to solve in a specific time. And after that, the best resolutions, the best one that win will win a prize. Then we offer a special support for startup and entrepreneurs. We have an amazing startup team that is working very hard to give you the best incentive packages for you. And then it's the other one is incentive packages after the hackathon. We have the possibility of going through a funding process and being part of the incubator that we're working on. And then what is very impressive and is very amazing is you will have the exposure and awareness across the entire Algorand network. We are an amazing ecosystem. We have many things to offer, and this will be a great place for you to shine. So all the hackathons has the same prices. We offer over $20,000 in USDC. So be ready for the fun and bring your project, because we are ready for you. Now,
do you also want to touch on
Yes, of course. Now, important dates for you is for the Vietnam hackathon, France and Nigeria. Well, Vietnam and France, we opened the registration on September 17, and Vietnam will be on until October 15. Then France will be until, I think I lost images.
Yeah, I think we lost Doro.
Okay. Okay, we'll present and continue with the presentation until we recover Doro. Then another important information for you is to be aware of the hacking window. From September until the day before the submission, the IRL demo day, you will be able to have your project submitted. So be aware about all these dates, because it will be very important for you to have your project ready to be presented. Also, over all this time, we are having workshops and different trainings, and you can be in touch with our different mentors. So we encourage you to be part of to be updated on the webpage, so you can stay up on date on everything. Doro, are you back?
I am back. Sorry.
No problem. I got your back.
Thank you. Okay, awesome. Okay, you're sharing. Wonderful. All right.
Yes.
Well, now we come to the meat of this event. So first of all, thank you to Eva to share all the information about regional hackathons. I think this is really, really a great opportunity, and I encourage you to really listen to our panelists, because they are technical and non-technical. They've all participated in hacks. They have run hacks. They know how to win, and they can give you really, really good advice. So if you can go to the next slide. Okay, so here they are, and I'll have them each introduce themselves very briefly, but if they could join us on stage, that'd be great. So we have Yip here from Jedi and SystAIN3r. We have my amazing colleague Asta Yadav here joining us from India. She's a senior DevRel advocate. Then we have Sarah Jane, who many of you probably already know. She's from Ireland and is our junior dev community advocate. And then our amazing colleague Camilo Molano Herrera joining us from Colombia. He's our head of developer programs and a bit under the weather. So we don't want to fry on him too much, but thank you all for joining. And maybe Eva, if you can stop screen sharing, then we can just kick into the conversation. And please, everybody, use the questions tab for questions that are relevant to this conversation. And then the end of our discussion, we'll address those questions, I'm assuming they are relevant to this. All right, so first of all, just want to hear a really brief introduction from each of you. So maybe like a minute about yourself, and then I want to hear about your first hack experience. And feel free to tell us your personal stories. You know, maybe you were crying in the bathroom, or you were on stage getting your first award. So all these stories are super important. Asta, can I start with you? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. So hello, everyone. I'm Asta Yadav, and I'm a senior DevRel advocate at Algorand. So I joined, I think, 4 months back. And prior to this, I have been a developer myself, and I've worked at a bank, OCBC Bank in Singapore. And I come from India, and I think I have approximately like more than 5 years of experience now, and all of that is in blockchain. So I think when I started my first hack, that was like an in-person event. And there were, I think, more learnings, and I did not win that hackathon, but I learned a lot. For example, I was able to network with people. There were so many like learnings. There was that pressure of like, you'll have to achieve what you wanted to, like what was your goal. And under that pressure, if you have to perform and you have to like ask people and seek help. So those were like some of the learnings that I went with. And then I did not stop there. So I went to another hackathon, and the second one I won as like the first prize at Ethereum Singapore. And that was on enhancing financial inclusion. And I think Vitalik was also there, and there was one track which was sponsored by Zilliqa. So in that track, like I won. So I would definitely say like, don't focus just on winning, but also on the learnings, because there are a lot of like learnings that we have.
Awesome, thanks, Asta, and it's great to be around Vitalik. I met him last Sunday, and it was quite the trip, I must say. So, Yip, over to you. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you're doing right now, and a little bit about your first hack and what it was like.
Of course. So hi, everyone. I'm calling you from Munich, which is a crazy city to be right now because the entire world is coming in for Oktoberfest. I'm German with Vietnamese background, so I'm very excited that you guys are presented in the Vietnamese market. It's a very big and growing market. And I'm the CEO of Jedi. which is a market intelligence platform that brings you the latest conference insights in digestible pieces, bits and bytes. For example, we just uploaded Solana Breakpoint Token 2049 Network State Conference, hopefully soon some Algorand content too. And basically my first hack, so I have participated in 3 hackathons and I won 2 hackathons. And I think my first hack was 2021, and it was just like getting a feeling. We developed some autonomous NFTs for the gaming space, and it was for me very difficult to follow, because one thing to know about me is I'm a non-technical person. And I just say that because this is a call to action for all those that don't code. Hackathons are still your place, because it's very important to also have non-technical people in the team that can help with vision, storytelling, design, project management. And I want to share about my first real hack, which was during ETH Denver, which we actually also won. We won the impact track with a women, 100% women team, and Vitalik actually judged our project. So that was really cool. I pitched to him. I'll share the video of our pitch in the link later. What is very important was we had no idea, how to hack. There's like 3 women who kind of are new to the blockchain space and just have this very big conviction that we need to be represented, because we can learn so much at a hackathon. And at hackathons, what we noticed is you learn fastest, because you just like try to solve everything while you learn while you're trying to solve a real problem. And you're solving a problem that you love, because that's what you kind of sketch up with other like-minded peers. So that's, I think, was very inspirational for my career in Web3. I want to stop here because we have other amazing speakers.
Thank you. Yeah, this is like a Vitalik party. Yeah, super impressive, and like winning an all-female team is amazing. So kudos to you. Sarah Jane, over to you.
So,
Tell us who you are.
yeah, super excited to be here. Obviously going to be hard to lead up from Asta and Yip. Amazing. I have not met Vitalik yet, maybe one day. But my name is Sarah Jane. I have been working in the Web3 blockchain industry for coming up to 4 years. And that's and I'll probably take it from the perspective of being a student in blockchain as well. So I'm currently studying for a software development degree. So I'm in the 2nd year of that. And when I first got into blockchain, I didn't have any technical, know-how or anything. That kind of just happened as I kept growing. But the ways that I got into it was meeting with communities, doing some community management, networking, and things like this. And then you'll start to find out, there's a place for everyone in blockchain, and then your passions start to get ignited and you can focus in on them. So that's like a point that you could use in hackathons as well. So my hackathon experience that I have done, the first one I ever did was actually, I believe it was it Change the Game or Buildable? I think it was Buildable, perhaps. And it was the first time I went into a hackathon team and met 2 complete strangers, and we were still like, they came over to Decipher as well, one of the teammates, and it was awesome. So it was cool to meet new people, which is one of the most important things as well. Of course, winning is cool, but I think if you as much as you learn from the hackathon, you can use that to build perhaps your startup or perhaps a future hackathon, or all of these skills that you can learn from your teammates. So I'm really excited to get into this conversation. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Thank you. And I think it's important how you underline it's also a great way to just meet new people from all over the world and make new friends and grow your community. Camilo, I know you're under the weather, but can you maybe tell us 2 sentences about yourself, who you are, and what you do at the foundation?
Yeah, for sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Camilo Molano. I'm head of developer programs at Algorand Foundation. And maybe I can share my first experience in a hackathon, because it was in 2014 in an event organized by Google called the Google Developer Program. It was a pretty interesting event that took place in 3 cities in Latin America. 10 teams were selected from each of them, and the winners received a trip to Silicon Valley. In that time, I don't win, but it was an exciting experience, and in that moment, I decide, okay, I want to be entrepreneur. Those are the kind of things that can happen during a hackathon, because that was my first time participating in that, but I realized that we can achieve amazing things, and that is the invitation that we are doing today. You can participate, you can meet interesting people, and also you can create amazing solutions.
Thank you, Camilo. So what you're saying is our hackathons should come with a warning label. They may change your life in ways that you haven't anticipated. Yeah, oh yeah, you've said thumbs
Yeah,
up.
for
That's great.
sure.
Well, thank you all for this. So maybe this is a question for Sarah Jane, Yip, Asta, feel free to chime in. Why do we not see more women or people of color or from just different backgrounds? And especially, Yip, you mentioned people with non-technical backgrounds. Like, why are they not participating? Why are they so hard to get to come? Maybe Yip, do you want to start?
I think a lot of times it is about how we market or acquire participants for hackathons. A lot of times it's like friends asking friends, do you want to jam? Hey, I saw this online on DevPost or somewhere. Do you want to hang with me, do that and that? And then people come not only alone, but come with their friends. And so I think in the past, but it's changing now thanks to initiatives like this one. Friends of friends were mainly like friends of like men, friends of men invited their men. And now we have seeded, I think, across the globe, a very strong global women hackers community. And now we can invite each other and be inspirational to each other. It is quite tough to think about what is a hackathon like when you don't know anyone who has participated in one, and who of us in the past knew another woman hacker. Very rare. Right, but because now we are all investing resources in it, I think it's just more interesting, more accessible, and also the hackathons they have developed. Now hackathons are much better organized than in the past. In the past, sometimes it was just like the Web3 hackathons. I'm speaking about these, like beers and pizza and no air in the room and everything super chaotic. Nobody speaks to you, and this is not an environment that feels like very nice to many women that I know. So things are changing, and I think it's very diverse now, or getting very diverse.
Thank you. Yeah, so I hear it needs to be better marketed. The seed's been planted, but we need more, and more diverse participants maybe react more to better organized, better structured hackathons that are more transparent to get into. Yeah, cool. Asta, do you have anything to add here?
Yeah, sure. I think there are like few things I would want to add. So, for example, if we think of a game, for example, if we think of cricket, and we see that, okay, all the players are male, then do we want to like go ahead and be a part of them? I don't think like many people would be comfortable with it. That happens many times with hackathons as well. And I think one major issue that comes is that like there are many hackathons that are overnight as well. They are not just during the daytime, they go over till the nighttime as well. And some people might not be comfortable with that environment. Some people might feel that, okay, since they don't have, for example, there is no like childcare option that we can like bring our kid as well, right? So I think, and also I would like when I think about it, I also feel that there are not that many role models that we can see in blockchain industry. So for example, if we talk about Silvio, like Silvio might be role model for some people. For some people it would be Vitalik, for some people it would be like other people, but we don't see many like women role models in our industry right now. So if, for example, we have like a she role model, we would also be looking forward that, okay, if this person can do it, we can also like go ahead and do it. So I think, and like more or less, yes, I would also agree that things are changing now. People are being more proactive, and like even if like I feel if even if like your friends are not going, if you think only like male friends are going, you should definitely like push yourself and go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think it's important, yeah, like being role models and visibility, and yeah, creating environments where
I think we lost Doro. So Sarah, would you like to add something?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I do think we lost Dora for a second there, but I say she'll be back very soon. Yeah, so on the points you were adding, I really think that visual representation was such a good point. And even if I think back to just now and currently, and we think back to the traditional side, when you go do maybe a more tech one, like a tech course in college, like even a fifth might just be women, but it's like a whole horde of guys learning the tech, and slowly but surely I'm sure we'll see more women go into the traditional side. But we have such an opportunity in Web3 to make it inclusive from the get-go, because it's such an early and new space. Hello, Dora.
Hi, sorry. I'm back. Really, for working in the tech sector, I should get a better internet connection, I reckon. But here I am. Sorry, Sarah Jane, I missed some of what you said.
Yeah, so just building on from the point of Asta about our representation, and also from more of the traditional backgrounds of learning, it's a male-dominated area. So, of course, blockchain technology is tech as well. So it's going to start off a bit more male-dominated, but it's such an early space that we can easily make it an inclusive space, and very diverse, especially because I think as blockchain enthusiasts, we can really see that decentralization is literally the ethos of diversity as well. So I think if we take away the intimidation factor of a hackathon and these, events that are just, what we can stereotypically think of, I think we could encourage more people of different backgrounds, different ethnicities to work together, because that's really when we can unlock some really cool innovative ideas, which are just exciting, I believe, to Web3 people in general as well. Breaking down barriers is the whole point.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. And, I'm thinking, maybe I should participate in a hackathon if my internet works correctly. Well, thanks all. I thought that was super, super good and really good hands-on advice. And I saw Camilo was taking notes. I think there's a lot we can take home for us. So, Camilo, one last question for you, and then I'll let you go and rest. You and Eva have been working really hard together with our regional teams to build the hackathons. From your perspective and considering how long you've been in this space, what can organizers do better? You got some suggestions from the panelists, but what have you seen that works, and what do you think we can improve in the future to attract a more diverse pool?
That is a great question, and that is something that we are working on, because the hackathon is like a testing lab. You need to try several things to attract different people. And one decision that we made is to host for the first time the hackathon in 3 specific cities. And we are trying to attract the local talent, and we are working with different communities and partners that can help us to promote the hackathon information in order to reach a more diverse audience. And maybe another important thing to highlight over here is that the hackathon are not just for developers. So if you are an entrepreneur and a designer, artist, a builder, you can join and you can create solutions, because sometimes there is that misconception that if I'm not a developer, I cannot participate. And that is something missing in the hackathon, actually, because there are just a lot of developers that they want to build solutions that just the developers are willing to use. The world is pretty huge, and we need people with different backgrounds participating in these spaces. And I know that during these hackathons, we will learn a lot, and we are going to improve the way that we can deliver the hackathons. And I hope that we can achieve amazing results. And yeah, that could be the way that we are approaching to that topic, Doro.
Thank you. Yeah, amazing. Thanks, Camilo, and thanks for coming today. I know you're really not feeling well, so if you want to get off stage or turn your camera off for a second, feel free to do it. So I really appreciate you taking the time. Yep, I'm going to go back to you, and I want you to tell us a little bit more about SystAIn3r and also Jedi. And I know you've been like at the intersection of Web3 and women empowerment for a long time. Tell us a little bit about what SystAIN3r does to drive female participation, more diverse participation, and also like what's on the agenda coming up for you for the rest of the year.
Yes, I just want to add on two organizations I think that are very important. One is like the Her DAO, which is a women-focused developer DAO, which is basically what I scaled up with Tracy, who founded it, sometime when we noticed in 2021 that there were nearly any women at any of the blockchain conferences back then. And then we focused on bringing 100 women to this East Denver hackathon that I spoke about earlier, supported by some of the amazing blockchain foundations of that time. And then basically we noticed, or actually for myself, I noticed we need more than just women-focused developer DAOs that support, coach, and give grants to women to participate in hackathons. I noticed that we also need to follow after the hackathon. What is then? And that's how the idea of SystAIN3r came into place, which is like, I call it a transdisciplinary ecosystems builder. Transdisciplinary because it's the collaboration between disciplines that really drives like breakthrough innovation. When you think of innovation, that is not like making something better, going from 9 to 10, making another wallet integration, right? But innovation that solves real problems, like problems where people come together to solve a problem with a purpose, build solutions and technology with purpose. And we notice there's a lot of different areas of potentiality when we think blockchain meets AI, blockchain meets longevity or health, blockchain meets, I don't know, sustainability. So we thought, okay, how can we create a platform in which women and non-women, so everyone is basically included in that platform, come together and spend quality time with each other? Because on my women empowerment work for the past years, I noticed women very much care, not only women, everyone, but my solution was targeted to solve the gender equity gap. Quality time together, mentoring, learning from each other rather than learning just reading forums. Because let's face it, all information you need to win a hackathon or to learn technology is spread all over the internet and everything is free. But still, that doesn't help you when you kind of have limited time. Asta already said women sometimes have children that they need to take care of, and we don't just have a lot of time to do all that research and so on, and therefore if we have to make hard decisions, we will not enter the blockchain space. However, if we can cut down that time, then it's easy and fun to join, and that's why we created SystAIN3r and started off hosting our own hackathons, our own retreats, our own conferences that are really catered towards catalyzing collaboration, like onboarding people to the ecosystem very fast and then helping them grow very fast along the career. And with the idea to say that in blockchain, there's so much market growth to be expected in the next 10 years. And if women can take a share in that, then their material stake economic pie will also increase. That's how I think we can really solve the gender equity gap. And Jedi is a tech platform that helps to learn things faster. So we take all these hours, like hundreds of thousands of hours of free content on YouTube, and we just crystallize the main essence of it. But instead of watching 60 hours of a talk by anyone, and there's a lot of really good content, for example, even from Stacy from Algorand out there, and then we distill it into 3 minutes of just reading. And then you can learn everything you want in less time, like 20x less time. And this is where kind of Jedi helps to onboard all those who don't really participate yet because the process to participate is too cumbersome, and bring it together, and all of you can actually read all the content for free. That's kind of the idea behind it. So like catalyzing collaboration by helping everyone understand each other much, much better, so that we can then work together across disciplines and drive breakthrough innovation.
I love that. Like, I also think, we often in our blockchain corner, we need to go out much more. So really go look at other industries. Like what we are doing at Algorand Foundation is we created a capacity building program for the United Nations Development Program. And it was really interesting because a lot of women and people from all over the world are at the UNDP. And we sort of brought that program to them and teaching them blockchain, in a way that's relevant for them, But one thing that you mentioned, Yip, that I think is really important is the lack of time, how women have often more strain on their resources, right? Kids or no kids. It's if you don't have kids, you take care of somebody else, you do the office housework, you volunteer, whatever. And I think the value of women's time is unfortunately still less. So looking at it from that angle and really seeing like, how can I make it easy and accessible and digestible, and really also inspire, women and their allies to feel themselves again, to be excited about something in a way that's possible for them is really, really cool. Yeah, thank you for that. I want to hand over to Sarah Jane and Asta. I was wondering if each of you could maybe give some advice, like if I'm here today as a potential hackathon participant, maybe Asta, you could give some advice on if you're technical, how to approach hackathon participation. And then Sarah Jane, and I know you're also technical, but you also work across multiple fields, maybe give some advice if you are non-technical, what's the first step? Like, what can I do to be in the hackathon? Asta, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So for like all the technical participants, I would say what happens is that, for example, if we know that, okay, this is a 3-day hackathon, we start coding immediately. And that's something that we shouldn't do. So the first step is that to understand the problem, that, okay, like this is the problem that we have, and this is the solution that we are trying to build. So brainstorming on that solution, probably like writing it down somewhere, creating, for example, a high level overview, because obviously like you won't have that much time to go into like low level designs and doing all the designing before coding, but at least on a high level, you should know that, okay, if we are to present the solution, how this will look like on a higher level. Now, once you have done that, you would basically get an idea that, okay, for example, if this particular problem needs, for example, concurrency more than other things, then this might be the right stack. So then we should choose, okay, this tech stack would suit our solution more. And then one more problem that people generally face is that they try to build everything at once. So this is one of the most common problem. And the problem is actually that if, for example, you are like a team of 2 or 3 people, and you start with, okay, we have to build, for example, 5 features. Everyone starts building, no one tests, no one debugs, no one tries to first like build a core functionality. What ends up happening is that after 3 days, you don't even have one functionality. So I would say, like, first build something, at least like one feature, like the core functionality of your product, build an MVP, test it, try to debug it, integrate it with, for example, if you're building backend, you have someone else who is building the front end, and there is someone else who is managing. So all of like the people should come together, first integrate it, test it, that, okay, now we have something. Now we can build on top of that. We can add new features and we can like present it in a better way. And also like I'm not really sure if like people do follow this, but I think especially for the beginners or for the students, they generally don't follow version controlling. Like, it's such an underrated thing. But if, for example, you're using Git, now one thing that happens is that, for example, if you're not using a version control, you build something and you have, for example, 5 or 10 hours left, and you're like, okay, I've built 2 features, I can build third one as well. But what happens is that you screw up somewhere in the code. Now, if you don't have a version control, you won't be able to go back and at least show those 2 features. It might screw up those 2 features as well. So try to like document it and also have like a version control in place, so that if you're collaborating with someone else also, that time also it's helpful. And if you are doing it as an individual, it's helpful for you also, because you might not know that what all changes you made, because there might be like many changes. And then I would say you should take like regular breaks in between, because sometimes it's exhaustive and it might like cause burnout. So it's better just to take like little breaks in between. And one more thing I would like to say, that what happens is that when, for example, we are coding and we are stuck somewhere, and we are stuck like very badly. We have like tried every possible solution. I would highly suggest like seek out help from mentors and from other people also. Like if you find someone, if you find a mentor, just go out to them, ask them that how can this be solved. There's like no harm in asking for help, because mentors and other people are there to help you out. And it shouldn't be like you are spending the whole time just debugging something and getting fixed and then getting irritated by it. But like it would be really helpful for you and for the other people as well. And also like instead of like just focusing on the technical stuff, also to spend some amount of time in preparing for the demo day. So like at the end of the hackathon, you would have to like present your solution, and it's not that the most technical stuff would win, but the thing that has like best solution plus how you are presenting it would win over like the most technical stuff, I would say. And then like in the end, I would say it's not just about like your product, but it's more about like, since you're getting that kind of environment, you should also like network with people, see that okay, what other people are building, what are the trends that are happening, is there any other solution that's better, or probably you might find that kind of motivation that okay, these people are building something that's really innovative and really good, and we can take inspiration from them. Because it's more about like learning and your creativity rather than like taking all that stress that okay, this is a hackathon and we have to finish it in this much time. Oh, I think we've lost Dora again. So yeah, Sarah, would you like to answer the non-technical people?
Yeah, definitely. Those are some really great tips, actually. I'll write down some for myself. So some non-technical tips for people going into the hackathons. So definitely, so I believe for the regional hackathons, the max number of the teammates is 5, which is, you can get a lot of good talent into that. So definitely the first one would be to play to your strengths. So immediately when you meet up with your team, of course, learn their names first and then learn what they're good at. So then you can sort of match up the non-technical and the technical people, and sort of have people who are skilled in design or marketing or product management, like Yip mentioned earlier, and they can contribute then and communicate with the 2 other developers. So sometimes it's not great to actually just have a team full of devs, which I think we came to that conclusion earlier as well, that it is actually really important to have people working on that presentation from the get-go that you will have to present at the end as well. Because there's no point having a brilliant product and you can't explain it, and it's not easy to be explained, because if you can have a technical person explain to the non-technical person who might be presenting it, well, fantastic. That's a key point right there. Communication is obviously key. You got to make sure that the technical team knows how to explain their work with the non-tech members. And I'd say another point or two is focus on the problem solving part of it. So for the more non-technical roles who may be doing more of the user research or the problem identification and the ideation of it, have them start to build that out in the conceptual way, but also within the presentation deck that you will be presenting, and work very closely with the developers. And then I suppose the very last point, which is what this call is also advocating for, is providing different perspectives. So the more diverse backgrounds that you have, I often put it into the chat, it's diversity equal to innovation. So the more fresh perspectives we can have can provide a much better user experience, which in my personal opinion is lacking in the Web3 space. So if you can come out there with a great user experience, which can be done from the really cool designers on your team who can come up with this and say, hey, can you do this to our front-end devs? And it's much easier. Like, take it as if it is a mini startup that you're going into with this hackathon. And if I was just to sort of like in a conclusion and do like a summary of like a step-by-step way of how to sort of prepare for a hackathon, is definitely when you enter, and I think we also have a space where you can connect with other people where you'll be able to join teams, or you can join our Discord as well. Especially during the hackathon, if you go into our Discord, which I'll put into a chat very soon, but in there you can find mentors like Asta, who are amazing. But yeah, so like a 5-step guide would be like building a balanced team. So developers, designers, marketers, people who are able to communicate, and then basically propagate those jobs and assign them to people based on their strengths. Then brainstorm, define your idea. Make sure since it's a hackathon, make sure you know the hackathon's themes and rules. So for example, there's only 5 max in a team. So if you obviously have 6, you may get disqualified. So definitely look at the rules before you go into it. And I guess choose well, it could be out of the box idea, which is awesome, but sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel and you can make it a lot better. And this is what blockchain technology really unlocks as well. And then the last few things is basically preparing from your presentation to what IDE you're going to use to build on. And also, I think it's really helpful if you create especially if there's an online person. So there will be a few people in person, but there might be one online teammate. Definitely get a group chat all together. And something that I found that was helpful is just put it in say if it's a longer than a few days, maybe like a few weeks hackathon, is put at least one stand-up a week to then really push people to get their jobs done and to present, and everyone stays on top of what they need to be doing. And then I guess lastly is just practicing the teamwork and the presentation of it, and stay focused. And as Asta said before as well, make sure you take plenty of breaks, because burnouts can happen and that can be detrimental in a hackathon, really. Nearly happened to me as well with our team. We were getting tired and we're like, okay, this is hard, but it's really worth it and you learn a lot even through that. So definitely just try to see it out and try to submit something at the very end, no matter what. Even if it's not 100% the way you want it to be, most of the time it won't be. But that's why you take it from hackathon and you continue building on from it and maybe pursue it as a more advanced idea in a future hackathon, or take it to a startup, and etc. But yeah, those are some of the tips from non-technical, but also preparing for a hackathon.
Thank you both. I really loved how you guys came in prepared, all right, listen up, grab a pencil, this is what you got to do. Because I feel like Web3 is often so just, blah, blah, blah. But you guys were so here's what you got to do. Do all these things. I think that's super helpful. So thank you very much for that. We're a little later in time than I had hoped. So maybe, Yip, one last question for you. Can you dive a little deeper, maybe just for a minute, really, can you give a concrete example of how you've seen diversity create true innovation? Is there a use case or project you worked on where you're look, this really blew your mind?
I don't have a hackathon specific one, but what I can say is many people, because I have organized these hackathons, right? And people 1 or 2 years after texted me and said, hey, this was so inspirational that I actually changed my career. So I think what Camilo said in the beginning is that really, it might change your life attending a hackathon. And a few people have founded companies together that didn't know each other after they basically came to the hackathon. And this makes me so happy because it really leaves an impact. And this is really where the true innovation is, that people that don't know each other come together, work for a few hours or days with each other, and then decide that, hey, we're going to give it a go and we're going to build that out together.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's really good to also not maybe always expect immediate return, but also let that sink in. And I think what's really important is to push yourself also to, what you're doing with the multidisciplinary work, to maybe go to a meetup that's about cybersecurity, although that's not your jam, or go to a meetup about sustainability and biotechnology, to actually go out and meet new people and see other worlds, travel and so on, and see other people's perspectives. So that's really good. If there are any questions from the audience, I've seen all the questions so far have been answered and were about the hackathon. Are there any questions for Yip or Asta or Sarah Jane? Sarah Jane also put the Discord link in the chat, so please join there if you have specific questions for our devs or about the hackathon. That's a great place to ask. I know Al Hassan is asking when we're doing a hackathon in Ghana. I see Eva's responding. And then Confidence has some questions about cybersecurity, and I'll talk about something that Yip does in a minute. But yeah, last call for questions for our panelists before we'll do a virtual round of applause. Okay, I don't see anything. I know there were lots of questions about mentorship. I think overall it's really reach out to people at best in person or on LinkedIn, people you see at the event, go up and talk to them, email them, people that you admire. I feel like most people are actually quite open to talk to anyone, and don't be shy if you see somebody that you think could be a good fit. That's fantastic. All right, well, at this point, I want to thank Yip and Camilo and Asta and Sarah Jane for making time. I know it's late for you guys, and Asta, for you, it is very late. Oh my God. Thanks for staying up. I really, really loved how you guys shared hands-on advice. And yeah, I personally feel very inspired by what you talked about. So I'm very grateful that you're here. As promised, last but not least, we want to have you join our hackathon. So as Camilo outlined earlier, you do not have to be yourself in any of these countries where we're doing these hackathons, but at least one team member must be based there. So that's important. And we have lots of international friends on the call today. But yeah, join the Discord, make new friends, elbow all your buddies and friends and colleagues to come and join us. I would also, for those of you who identify as female, please join our Telegram group. It's called the Women's Breakfast Club. You may have seen Algorand does regular women gatherings around big events. We did one at Token a couple of years ago. We did one in India last year. And we do them pretty much around the big events with female speakers from the space and outside the space. It's really a good group to be part of. So join the Telegram group, and people post jobs there, just finding hacker buddies, all and so on. So it's a great group to be part of. And then SystAIN3r is running a cybersecurity training in Berlin on the 28th, so just in a couple of days. Yip, do you want to say maybe 2 sentences about the training for those of you who are interested?
8 hours of hardcore training on developing a white hat hacker's mindset. It will not be the only time that we will do it. So I think just follow the LinkedIn that we posted, and then we can do it more and together with you in different parts of the world in next year.
Awesome, Yip. So yeah, definitely give Yip a follow, give SystAIN3r a follow, join their community, join the Algo Devs channel, the Women's Breakfast Club, connect with any of us on LinkedIn, follow us on Twitter, sign up for our Algorand newsletter. We may mail out all the events and the latest hackathons and so on. So at this point, again, huge thank you to Sarah Jane, Asta, Yip, and Camilo. Thanks for being here. I want to thank Eva, too, my partner in crime, for jumping on this today. We'll email out the recording tomorrow along with a summary of those hands-on tips. Eva, do you have any final words you want to share about our beautiful hackathons?
Nothing more to add, just to take this chance to prove yourself. Just jump into this opportunity. We're waiting for you. You have everything to win.
Thanks, Eva. All right. Well, I would say we're done here. Thanks very much, everybody. Thanks to our speakers. I really appreciate it. Much love, and see you soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.